హాయ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్, వెల్కమ్ టు మంచులా ట్యూటోరియల్స్. అందరూ ఎలా ఉన్నారు? అందరూ బాగుండాలి, అందరూ ఉండాలి. సో ఈరోజు మనం లైవ్లోకి రావడం కారణం ఏమంటే మనకి ఎగ్జామ్స్ దగ్గరకైతే వచ్చేసాయి. సో వీడియో చేసి మళ్ళీ వీడియో ఎడిట్ చేసి మళ్ళీ అప్లోడ్ చేసిన లింక్ అందరికీ షేర్ చేయడం వల్ల టైం సరిపోదు. సో అందుకే డైరెక్ట్గా లైవ్లోకి వచ్చేసాను నేను. సో దట్ మనం ఇంటరాక్ట్ అయ్యి మీ డౌట్స్ మా డౌట్స్ కూడా క్లారిఫై చేసుకోవచ్చు అని. సో ప్లీజ్ షేర్ టు ఆల్ law colleges students who are going to write the 4th semester or labor law 2. సో లేబర్ లా 2కి సంబంధించిన మనకి ఫార్మోస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్ ఏదైతే ఉందో మినిమం వేజెస్ యాక్ట్ 1948 గురించి ఈ లైవ్ వీడియోలో మనం తెలుసుకుందాం ఫ్రెండ్స్. సో నాకు తెలిసినంత వరకు డేటా మీకు నేను సపోర్ట్ చేస్తాను. సో మీకు తెలిసిన కొత్త పాయింట్స్ కానీ ఏమైనా ఉన్నా కూడా నాకు షేర్ చేయాల్సిందిగా నేను మనవి చేసుకుంటున్నాను. సో please subscribe my channel, don't forget to click on bell icon. So we'll get into the topic. So the introduction part of Minimum Wage Act 1948. The main philosophy of labor law is to prevent the worker from exploitation. Along with, there is a maxima that is industry is for man, vice versa, not man for industry. This is the main philosophy of labor law. So basing on these principles, Minimum Wage Act 1948 has arisen. The main aim of Minimum Wage Act 1948 is to give social justice and equity to all the workers in the factory. So the Minimum Wage Act 1948 provides for fixation and enforcement of minimum wages in respect of scheduled employments to prevent exploitation of labor through payment of low wages. So the main basic principle is Minimum Wage Act is to prevent and keep fixation of the wages from the exploitation of paying low wages. There are different factories come under this Minimum Wage Act. One is agriculture and plus 12 other occasional workers will come under this Minimum Wage Act. The objective of Minimum Wage Act is there are 4 main important points. That is to fix minimum rates of wages in certain employment, to promote the welfare of the workers, to fix the minimum rates of wages in certain employment, and to promote welfare of the workers, to prevent exploitation of workers, to provide for their substances and preservance of the efficiency. So all these 4 are very important. Sir, if you go get into in Telugu language, in our regional language, ఇది ఒక ఫిక్స్డ్ మినిమం రేట్స్ ఆఫ్ వేజెస్ అయితే నిర్ధారించడం జరుగుతుంది. దీని యొక్క ముఖ్య ఉద్దేశం ఏమంటే మన లేబర్స్ కానీ వర్కర్స్ వారి యొక్క బాగోగుల కోసం, వెల్ఫేర్ కోసం ఇది క్రియేట్ చేయడం జరిగింది. ఇంకొకటి వర్కర్స్ ఎక్స్ప్లోటేషన్ అంటే దీని ఇంకో మెయిన్ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్ వచ్చి టు ప్రివెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ exploitation of workers. So next, to provide for their substances and preservance of efficiency. So when come to constitutional directives, so as we know, Article 39 of Directive Principal Act, Directive State Principal Act provide that a citizen, men or women equally shall have right to adequate livelihood. So along with that, Article 39 Clause B tells that there is a equal pay for equal work of both men and women. So this Article 39 Class A and Class B were discussed in constitutional law. So basis on that, Minimum Wage Act has also formed. So next 43, Article 43 states that state shall endeavor by suitable legislations and economic organizations in other way to give all workers, agriculture, industrialists work living wage. So living wage plays an important role in minimum wage rate. So when come to description, when come to the discrimination in minimum wage act, there is no discrimination between male and female. The minimum wage act does not provide for any discrimination between men and women of workers or different wages for them. The provisions are equally applicable to both workers. So here, Minimum Wage Act 1948 does not provide any discrimination between men and women in paying salary or in work. Here, all are treated equally. So norms for fixation and revision of minimum wages. Now, fixation and revision of this minimum wages will take under help with appropriate government. It is very important concept. So please go through that. Appropriate government. Section 3 empowers appropriate government to fix the minimum wages rates of the scheduled employees. Appropriate government may be central or state. It belongs to their regional conditions and financial and economic conditions of the particular state. So that's it, friends. Minimum Wage Act introduction and the objective and scope. So there are different kinds of wages. That is also very important one. So please take down that three important wages that will also cover in this video itself. So there are different kinds of wages in Minimum Wage Act. We first of all get into know the point what is meant by wage. Wage is a payment made to the workers for their labor. Wage is a payment made to the workers for their labor. It is a kind of compensation usually financially received by the workers in exchange of their labor. So section 2 class 6 provides that wage means all remunerations whether by way of salary, allowance and otherwise expressed in the terms of money are capable of being so expressed. So section 2 class 6 of Minimum Wage Act provides that wage means all remunerations whether by the way of salary, allowance or otherwise it is expressed in the terms of money are capable of being so expressed. There are three types of wages we have in our labor law 2. So that is minimum wages and living wages, fair wages. So we'll discuss one by one. First of all, we'll discuss about the minimum wage. The lowest wage that an employer is allowed to pay, which is determined by the contract or by law, is called minimum wage. The lowest wage that an employer allowed to pay, which is determined by contract or by law, is called minimum wage. It is mandatory compensation to be paid by an employer to his work. It is mandatory, it is compulsory that compensation has to be paid by the employer to his workers, irrespective of his ability to pay. The Committee on Fair Wage has not only for the bare substance of life, the Committee on Fair Wage has defined that minimum wage as the wage must be provided not only for the bare substances of life. Bare substances means daily needs, food, shelter, and etc. But the preservation of efficiency of the workers. But for the preservation of the efficiency of the workers. For this purpose, minimum a wage must provide some measures of education and medical requirements and other amenities to the workers of the company or factory. The concept of minimum wage act was first evolved by Indian Labour Organization in 1922. New Zealand is the first country in the world to enact this minimum wage act. So this is all about minimum wage act, wages in kinds of wages. This will be for 4 marks or 3 marks, friends, or otherwise it will may ask for 18 marks question. So in that we should completely write about the description, objective, scope and nature and about appropriate government also. So in that minimum wage we have one subsidiary thing, that is need based minimum wage. Indian Labour Conference in its Indian Labour Conference was held in 1948. Later in its 15th schedule 1945 Indian Labour Conference held in India in 1945. Later in its 15th schedule of section held in 1957 July suggested that minimum wage should be need based and should ensure the minimum human needs of the industrial worker irrespective of any other consideration. So this minimum human needs such as educational or medical or other illness needs. So next we discuss about living wage. It is very asked question in 4 marks. Living wage is a term used to describe the minimum hourly wage necessary for shelter, clothing, basic needs and nutrition for a person for an extent to period of lifetime. So living wage is a term used to describe the minimum hourly wage necessarily for the shelter, clothing and basic needs and nutrition for a person for an extended period of lifetime. Justice Higgins, an Australian, said that described that living wage as one living wage must enable a worker and his wife and his 3 children to achieve a standard of living appropriate to normal needs of the average employee regarded as human being is civilized in society. Regarded as a human being in a civilized society or community. Living wage must provide not only base essentials, it includes education for children, protection against ill health, insurance against evil days, leisure, etc. Evil days means we can explain that evil days that are bad days. It prevails in most of economical advanced countries only. Actually, living wage is privileged in most of the economical developed countries. It has not been defined in Minimum Wage Act 1948. It has not been defined in Minimum Wage Act 1948. It is not possible to define the accurate contents of living wage. Living wage is fixed considering general economic conditions of the country. Living wage is fixed considering that general economic conditions of the country. Thus, living wage represents standard of living. Living wage individually in India is approximately 18,000 rupees, Indian rupees, for a single person, for 19,400 Indian rupees for a family employer by 2020. So it is all about living wage. It is mostly covered in economically developed countries and it depends upon the economic conditions of the country and inflation and other economical financial conditions of the particular country. So it is known as living wage is also known as standard of living. In other words, you can express that cost of living of a particular state is determined by living wage itself. So that's all about living wage, friends. So next we discuss about fair wage. The wage between minimum wage and living wage is called fair wage. The wage between minimum wage and living wage is called fair wage. It depends upon the present economic position as well as the future prospects of the industry. It depends upon present economic position as well as future prospects of the industry, not in a country. So you please keep in mind that it is depends upon the economic position and prospects of that industry. Fair wage, according to the Committee on Fair Wage, is a wage which is above the minimum wage but not below the living wage. Fair wage is a wage which is above the minimum wage but not below the living wage. So you can easily understand that a fair wage is described that living wage than lower than living wage but higher than minimum wage. The lower limit of fair wage is obviously minimum wage. The lower limit of fair wage is obviously minimum wage. The upper limit is set by the capacity of the industry to pay. The upper limit set by the capacity of industry to pay. The concept of fair wage is essentially linked with capacity of industry to pay. Fair wage actually fixed on consideration of the factors such as fair wage is actually wage fixed on the consideration of factors such as the productivity of labor, the prevailing rate, the level of national income and its distribution, the place of industry in the economy of the country, etc. So it is very important that it the fair wage is determined and considered on the basis of four main important points, that is productivity of labor, prevailing rate and level of national income and its distribution, how the national income is and the distribution of that particular income. And the foremost is the place of industry in the economy of the country. What is the place, what is the position of the industry in the economy of particular country. So that's all, friends. Thanks for watching my channel. So due to lack of time, I need to come to you in live, so I don't have enough time to create video and upload and edit that and then upload that video. So if you like this video, please share. If you are first time watching this channel, please subscribe my channel. Don't forget to click on bell icon. Soon we'll discuss some more important chapters or important questions which will be in our examination view. Thank you. Have a nice day. Signing off, your Mansoor Al Sheikh.